try too hard, nothing's ever enough. Even if I try too hard, tell me what to do, say anything, yeah. Dive deeper, dive.
Welcome back everyone to the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships, the first ever, and we are here on the sands of Portimão, the Praia da Rocha, for women's power pool action. Cassalletes from Spain up against Torrijas from Belgium. Benji Rees and Dmitry Doroshenko in the booth with you. Cassalletes started this game on offense, and both sides, I think, struggled a little bit for fluency early on in this one. How do you see this game shaking out, Dimmy?
It looks like a lot of miscommunication on both sides. I don't think that the wind is a factor. However, it is still surprising to see that both of these teams in the power pool are struggling a little bit and having 5 turnovers in total so far. So 3 turnovers for Cassalletes and 2 turnovers for Torrijas. Yeah, a little bit slow out of the blocks, but I think they're getting there as the disc is a little bit closer to that end zone on your right, if you're looking at your screens, for a few times, and we got a bit of a stoppage, Benji.
Yeah, we have. Nice slap of hands, I think. Both sides ready to get going again. This is going to be a huge start for Torrijas, breaking into the wind. Leading pass up the line, front and center, just outside the end zone. Can't find the scoring shot just yet, though. Can they squeeze the reset through to BEL? They can, and now looking for the scoring shot, and they've got it on the layout as well. That is an upwind break to start things for Torrijas. Dream of a debut on this show pitch for them.
Yeah, exactly. Good point that you've said about the debut. They were not even sure if they're going to be here, but apparently they combined 2 different clubs, Gentle and Wolf. Some youngsters are here from both of these clubs. Their goal was to win 1 game. They won 5 so far.
Yeah, they have been superb. Just the 1 loss for both of these sides actually coming into it. So Cassalletes won their first 2 games pretty handily against Undercover Dresden and Fabulous before a universe point loss to Troubles. They bounced back with victories over Salaspils, MUC and Lamp. For Torrijas, victories in their pool, clean sweep, the huge victory for them over Valkyria, then they beat Swarm and Black Widows before finishing off with a win over 3SB. They suffered their first defeat earlier today to Munich in a tight, low-scoring affair, 8-6, but a great pull is going to put Cassalletes in really perilous field position, and it proves to pay dividends. They're going to pick up with a short field. Kopijans. Jana Fraze. Couple of players coming out of the end zone. Wonder if they're going to take that available swing. Not early. Kopijans instead trying to get aggressive down the line. And Torrijas, they have really got something cooking here.
2-0. Great start for them. Perfect start, if I cannot say the least, for sure, about that. Great up the line point. And very good communication. Cassalletes, I think they were coming out strong and maybe looking to score a few more quick points and make it a little bit easier, but can't seem to find that communication. Their throwaways looked a little bit sloppy there. However, they are, of course, very well versed on the beach. I'm sure that they will get themselves together and get it going a little bit better. So they will have another crack on the offense, and I think the Torrijas D-line will have a look, of course, at looking and making that perfect start even more perfect.
honestly, it's all the more impressive given that this is a really young Torrijas side, and they seem totally unfazed by it. If anything, they're relishing the chance to strut their stuff on the show pitch here at the ULTI.TV arena.
I've been talking to their coach earlier. I think he said that all of the players are under 20, so like 16 and 17-year-olds.
And it's crazy what they're doing out here on the sand so far this week. There's the shot for Cassalletes. He's going to just about elude the defender and go right into the path of Chizoba Azuka to finally put Cassalletes on the board. Not as early as they would have liked, but that is a start.
That still works for them, of course, and the assist there by Zik. She's well known by the beach community around Europe, especially, going by the name of Broccoli most of the times.
It's an interesting nickname. Azuka was a player who's been here before, but volunteering, and actually it was volunteering at the first ever European Beach Ultimate Club Championships in 2018 and EBUC here in 2019 that kind of made her get that extra drive to kick on, you know, put the extra work in and get the chance to play on a side here that has in genuine medal hopes. I mean, they came in seeded third to this week for Torrijas. They came in seeded 22nd, but the two sides look to be evenly matched early in this contest.
Yeah, great for her, and now she's finding herself on the world stage, nonetheless.
Van der Velde has been mighty impressive this week. As we see a first offensive point here, shooting deep, and there were a couple of players with steps, but just did not get enough finesse on the throw and punted it out the back of the pitch.
A bit of a commentator's curse, Benji, no? Because she was going for the disc, Axel van der Velde, but couldn't chase it down, and there was a turnover, fortunately.
Yeah, Van der Velde has 3 assists and 11 goals, so she is so often their main goal-scoring option. That time, though, they were unable to connect.
Yep, she was one of the highlight players that their coach pointed out earlier when I was talking to him. So Axel van der Velde and Pita de Hespel, number 91. She's apparently also a player to watch, so watch out for them.
Yeah, Dispel is their leading assister, 13 assists and a goal. Cassalletes then trying to earn back one of those early breaks that they ceded.
Swing.
Into a slightly congested area. The spacing looks a little bit off, but Hernandez catches, and now floated again. There's going to be a discussion about who had this first.
Oof.
Both sides seem to think it was theirs. On first look,
it seems to me very often like it's like whoever releases the disc first gives up on it, but yeah.
Yeah, on the replay, it looked pretty clear that it was Van der Velde who got it first, and now they're trying to strike deep again. The layout was superb, even if it came up with nothing. By the way, good spirit there from Cassalletes to hear the opposing point of view. Maybe they had a chance to look at the Jumbotron behind as well and say, you know what? Okay, you did clearly get that first. Retract the call. Torrijas, though, can't do anything with it, so it will be a second shot at a break here for Cassalletes.
Such an amazing help there from the Jumbotron, from the giant screen to see the replay sometimes, and yeah. Just to get another perspective over there. And yeah, what a layout from number 25, Kopejans, there to try to get that disc, but that gives the disc to Cassalletes, who are, a bit of a miscue, but looks like...
There was an earlier stall out called. They are going to just retract the call and let the turnover stand.
Yeah, looks like that's exactly what they are doing. Just not to waste time to discuss the stall out call.
Good use of hand signals, thank you very much.
Yes.
One of the part of, I guess, the communication, one of the 5 principles of spirit of the game.
It is.
Here's ULTI.TV's own Ares Raymakers. With the stall rising, puts the edge on it towards the far side. I like the idea, just get it towards the break side, bit of air underneath it, see if one of your receivers can track it down. But again, just too much and misfires.
Yeah, I think a bit too much edge on that disc. Maybe a little bit too far. Yeah, big hand on Rainmakers on that, but fortunately too big for the receiver.
Cassalletes, when they've got the disc for the D-line, they haven't necessarily had a huge opportunity to punch those in, as they've struggled really to get beyond midfield.
No, not so much. Looks like they're also getting a little bit clogged and don't have a lot of continuations.
It feels like that's part of the plan for Torrijas, is to force them closer to the disc and take away potential deep strikes. But now one comes sneaking in under the force, and that is a superb option. You see why Torrijas would have been so keen to prevent that happening, as it was on the money when it was delivered. And Cassalletes get their first break. They tie us up at 2, shooting into the hands of Dalila Fuentes.
Yeah, that looked a lot better from Cassalletes. Some communication started running in, and into the right places, and that is 2-1 for Torrijas. And that point, that was a very long point, I must say. I think that took almost 8 minutes.
And even if they hadn't got the break, they could say, okay, maybe the D-line could have counted that as a win, because you are tying out your opposition offense. And late in these games, even though they're only 45 minutes long, on beach, the lactic acid really does build up. First goal of the game there for Dalila Fuentes, who saw some friendly faces playing on the beach in Valencia and decided to join in, and so plays mostly out there, but also spent a little bit of time in God's country, by which I mean Wales.
Oh, yeah, interesting.
And let me tell you, the weather there is not as good as it is in Valencia, to the surprise of literally no one.
I can imagine. Yeah, I'm sure that many people are enjoying a much nicer weather today as well. Not as bad as yesterday, that is for sure.
Yeah, mercifully, yesterday seems to be the worst of it, although the wind is beginning to pick up late in the day here, which is why the last 2 rounds were moved slightly forward. Shooting down the line, it's my dive. Both players bid for it. It hits the sand.
A triple bid. Oof.
A foul called. I must admit, from my angle, I had no real view on how much contact there was.
No, same. Even, yeah, from my perspective as well. I would say, if I would be game advising that, no game advisors, of course, on this tournament, I would say too close to call. I did not see it. It was... Yeah, the angle. Whoa.
I mean, that is a bit of a maelstrom of bodies, and in the end, they're deciding, you know what? Everything's okay. Retract the call. We'll let the turnover stand.
Oh, there is a mascot of the tournament.
A big old penguin. He looks very soft and squishy.
Not sure if it's a mascot of the tournament or a mascot of one of the teams, but very squishy.
So Cassalletes can break and bring us back on serve, which would be a superb answer to those 2 breaks they gave up right off the bat. Here's Azoka. Turning around, taking on the break. Lamont. As the lockout block steams through. Peter Disbale getting position, getting the disc.
Lots of contact on that, but looks like both teams are agreeing that that was fine. And Torrijas looking to get that.
It was a lovely throw from Disbale, but it just bobbled out of the hand at the very last moment. It seemed like she'd read it well, and then the disc just got pushed up a little bit, and Emma Dismat couldn't reel it in.
Yeah, I think she just very slightly misread that disc, tried to get it from the other side of it. Oh, and a hand block. Or not?
Accepted foul.
Accepted foul, yeah.
I love it when they use hand signals. It makes our job so much easier,
yes.
Which is the most important thing.
Of course, that is, of course, part of the communication, which is also part of spirit of the game, which is a huge thing, of course, on this tournament, and one of the principles of BULA.
Yeah, BULA are huge on spirit of the game, which is why there are no game advisors or observers. They really trust that the players on the field to uphold and preserve the spirit of the game. As Azoka goes down to ground and secures that one before it ate sand. Otavaro going across the pitch now to Martinez. Finds Zik. Zik putting a little bit of air underneath it. That is a perfectly weighted toss. Hands up already to take the high fives, and Cassalletes bring us back on serve. They have responded brilliantly to those 2 opening breaks.
Yep, great work by Cassalletes, definitely finding their feet, as we've said. Now getting a hold and then a break straight after. So good work, a very, very good recovery from the early game. From the early game problems.
You see, there was that scoop just before I hit the turf from Izoka. I say turf, the sand, of course. Need to adjust my jargon ever so slightly in the beautifully weighted throw to Lamont for the score. 3-2 then back on serve in this game. Can Cassalletes keep the break train chugging along?
We got Zik on our cameras just a second ago. She, I think, is one of the standout players for Cassalletes.
As the pool never really got going, it's going to go out quite a way up the pitch and give Torrijas his good field position to stop this skid. Although I did see some flecks of rain come down in front of our eyes.
Oh no, rain is coming. I hope not. I really hope not.
Yana Frey is looking down the line for Rainmakers, but overthrew it, and there was a defender waiting to greedily gobble it up. And now Lee is trying to get things going quickly after the turn. Pump fakes out the defender and gets it back. You can actually begin to hear it a little bit on the effects mic. Trying to keep the disc moving. They've been able to bog them down slightly, but they hit the free release rail. Olivares trying to get the arm around, but strong body position there from Betancourt. Now low, but scooped off the sand by Lee in that distinctive visor. Right down the center of the pitch. Couple of players in the end zone. Not really much motion going on, so wanting to take the reset was a good idea, but just not executed properly. And it hits the sand before Betancourt can get the hands underneath.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Drops, I think, are rare. Somewhat on the beach. It's usually just some difficult disc a little bit too far out of reach. But let's see. Now the O-line of Torrijas are getting another chance.
Rainmakers tries to break the mark to get something going downfield with really sticky handler coverage, and she can't manufacture anything.
Yeah, she's a little bit frustrated, judging by the body language. I think it should have been a much easier pass than it was.
Now got to dust herself down and play some D, just sitting off slightly to gum up that throwing lane downfield. Olivares powers past to try and take her out of the space. A little bit of contact there between Lee and Marchand, and that's going to have a discussion about a foul.
Yeah, I think Lee right away responded to it, and yeah, judging by the body language, she wasn't really agreeing to what have happened.
Yeah, let the players have a little chat about this. It is away from the disc, so it will stay in the possession of Cassalletes on that far sideline. There were potential lightning this evening, which again, as we mentioned, the last couple of rounds, rather than being 70-minute slots, are in 60-minute slots.
Ah, I see. So, okay, you mean on the forecast. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully we've not seen anything yet, as that floater, enough pressure to stop it going into the hands of Arellano. Rainmakers. And wants to get it out of her hands quickly. Doesn't see it, and a bit of a curl. You can see the wind just begin to deviate the flight of that one. A foul away from the disc, and everyone stops. Van der Velde obviously didn't get the initial message.
Yeah, doesn't seem like it, and I think
this one might go back.
Yeah, we might get a replay as well. We'll see what has happened. Looks like the disc is going back to Van der Velde.
Yeah, pretty much as she pulls the trigger, the foul's called and everyone stops.
So I guess it was just before the throw, so she can still get it back because the cold did affect the play. So it should go back at maximum 6, but there is still a discussion on it. Looks like the Spirit Captain is stepping in.
Yeah, that is Zik, or Broccoli, as you mentioned, and as it says on the back of her jersey.
Just to, I think, explain the rules a little bit more, or just to get a clarification. And yeah, I think we are dragging on this conversation for a little bit too long.
And you can see, or maybe even hear now, why it was so important for Cassalletes to get those breaks back early, because the wind is beginning to pick up and it will come off the sea and turn this into more of an upwind downwind contest. So the fact that now Cassalletes kind of have the wind at their advantage.
There are a few players that are trying to huddle together like penguins, because yes, it is definitely getting cold. We are nice and covered here.
Is it getting cold?
We are nice and covered here, but the wind is cold. I can tell you. I've been in that wind yesterday.
It's fine.
You're nice and warm here in the commentary booth.
This is the nicest weather I've had in years. Okay, we are belatedly ready to get back in play.
So foul. I see foul and contested signs.
So they're working out what the stall count was, and I think there just must not have been a stall count because it is going to come back in on 1. Van der Velde, oh my goodness! Talk about threading the needle. Gets the little seam ripper and carves them open, bisects the defenders, and Torrijas score to make it 3 apiece. Beautiful throw there out of the hands of Axel van der Velde.
Yeah, Sian Koppejans were always aware where the disc is going to go, and she believed that nobody else is going to reach that. This is a great inside thread. Nice thread of the needle into the end zone.
What I loved about it is that there's that awareness that we're going to need to put some of that inside-out edge on it, but it's not overly exaggerated. It's not extravagant, just enough of a shape to take it past the defenders and lay it into Koppejan's grasp. 3 apiece. This is proving to be a tight game, as the previous results suggested that it might be.
Yeah, and I think the wind might start playing a factor. I'm not sure if any of the teams were thinking about that when they did the flip. However, now Cassalletes are going downwind, and that is definitely a much easier side to score, as the wind is always blowing away from the sea, so from right to left on your screens.
And that one eats and picks up a fair amount of sand on the way through. They'll get it at midfield. Wind break could be huge, especially if the wind picks up a bit more.
Yep, absolutely. I think Torrijas would be hoping for another one of these early breaks, as you have said, and yes, they can be very crucial by the later stages of the game.
Just a couple of meters away, but this is good red zone defense, just determined to get the pass count ticking up. Do not let them in. They can continue to reset. They can go backwards. That's fine. They're just not getting it over the goal line.
Now they're pushing them back even more, Cassalletes.
Torrijas, to their credit, they're not getting flustered or flummoxed by it, but you wonder how long they can continue to last. There's a really good high grab made there by Los Koppejans. And the little toss on the leading pass, the layout just to make sure as well. That's an upwind break from Torrijas.
Yeah.
This is very much a game of runs here, Dimitri.
Yeah, Luis Koppejans is doing the great work there to saving the high disc and then a layout. And absolutely, they are making a great start of this game. Torrijas, yeah, maybe looking at their 6th win in this tournament and going further into possibly a...
Everyone in the upper power pools, as both of these sides were, goes into the top 16. But ideally, of course, you want to give yourself the easiest possible road through the bracket, and doing that with the best possible pool finish is huge for Cassalletes. They've played 2 games in this power pool, with a 10-5 victory over MUC and a really good 9-6 victory over LAMP, handing the Americans their first defeat of the weekend. For Torrijas, they've only played the 1, and they'll be disappointed as they slid to an 8-6 defeat to MUC. And now they've got a chance to bounce back after their first loss of the week. How they respond is a great test of character. Going with the zone.
Yeah.
I like it. Make those throws into the wind tough. Really pressure the throwers. See if you can generate a short field turnover. They've got space on this near side, and they work it to Lee. Back now to Fuentes. It's like 3 up front. They've got Desmet in the back, just patrolling in case anything does go up, and Copayan's also lurking in behind. There's the swing. Desmet bails out, knows that there's an option she has to cover downfield. And credit to Cassalletes because they've moved the disc with a decent degree of fluidity, even if Torrijas have really stopped anything truly ticking over.
Yeah, but there are no real progress. They are moving the disc really well side to side, but there is no.
The thing.
Yeah, there is no progress up or down, and they even pushed them back a few times.
Yeah, it's been a slow possession so far, but they are making their way down the field. It doesn't matter if you score in 1 or 100 passes as long as you get it in at the end, but obviously in these conditions the more passes you can force your opponent to make, the more chances they have of an error creeping in. Now into the red zone, looks like they're going to try and see if they can dissolve into one-on-one defense. Maybe they can, but is it too little too late? Fuentes just outside the end zone wants to threaten the inside flick to force it in, doesn't see it. Going back to the dump, and enough of a defender in the way to force it out of Olivares' hands.
Yeah, very high stall count situation. I think she was looking for a bailout but couldn't find it, and fortunately off the fingertips and with a defender in front of it.
And then a miscommunication, easy block there for Sanchez, and Cassalletes is going to pick it right back up. Play stopped, didn't see why. I think maybe she thought there was a call, but there wasn't.
Looks like it.
See, if I'm Cassalletes there, I'm thinking, or sorry, if I'm Torrijas, they might get a chance to get the disc back. Now it floats, and it doesn't go into Lee's hands. There'll be a foul called. I'm surprised that they didn't try and look deep early there. If you're happy to, to play that zone, I think maybe when you get the disc, you can maybe play the field position a little bit more.
Yep. A bit of a huck and D.
Yeah, it's Lee in discussion with Raymakers here.
Yeah. Let's see.
I think the call is that there's contact on that left arm, left shoulder.
I think so, but I did not see how it was that significant. Let's listen in. Or not.
And yeah, we can't quite get a good audio of it because of the rain coming down on the effects mic, but in the end the resolution is going to be that the disc is sent back.
Yeah, I think you could probably see when we tried to switch to the field microphone that how much of it's pouring down and how gusty the wind is. And
there's always a discussion of at what point do you kind of abandon your normal offensive structures and maybe play the field position game a little bit more. Cassalletes didn't seem to need it as they spear that one in from Fuentes to Lee, and they tie us up at 4 apiece.
Yeah, and I think during this point the halftime cap went on. So I think we're going to have half at 5 points.
We should indeed, you are correct. So 45-minute games to 13, so it means you have half at 7, or if you don't reach 7 by the 25-minute mark, you finish the point, add 1 to the highest score, and that becomes your half-time cap, so that you still do get the mirror of half-time, even if we don't necessarily have a half-time break. So that means 4 each, half at 5s. We got ourselves a cheeky little Galaxy point, Timmy.
I was about to ask you, what do you say when we have 4, half at 5, Galaxy points? Yes, exactly. How many Galaxy points have you seen so far, Benji?
A few.
A few, yeah. Games have been close. There are a lot of very close games.
Well, it is exactly what you want from a World Championship.
Absolutely.
As we mentioned, the inaugural World Beach Club Championships 20 years after the first World Beach Ultimate Championships with national sides.
Yeah, I think it's a great vibe as well because you're not coming with your a national club, you're coming with your team, and sometimes it's not as
a bit less
amazing
pressure, maybe,
bid.
as that is a superb bid from Lewis Coppejans. They have made some frankly ludicrous efforts. Again, it didn't quite stick. I thought maybe she had a bit more space to run it down, but I guess on the sand it's tricky to gain that pace, and she felt it's now or never.
Yeah.
And it looked spectacular. It just got nothing.
That was a beautiful show of athleticism there by Lewis Coppejans. Unfortunately, she came empty-handed from that bit, but I'm sure that it's not the first time she's done that, and a few times she's done it more successfully, and unfortunately that disc bounces away of the hands of Martinez there. That gives Torrijas once again.
Probably just across the halfway mark, trying to curl that one down the line, bang on the money in to Van Steelant, and that is Torrijas taking half 5-4 here. And the best thing about that for Torrijas is because they started the game on defense, they'll be receiving coming out of half, so they can cash in that free downwinder almost. There's the bid from Lewis Coppejans. Didn't get there, but the drop and the drops are going to creep in a little bit in these conditions, made it a little bit trickier. And then trying to curl it down the line there, hopped, skipped, and jumped into the end zone for Marie Van Steelant.
Yeah, and Torrijas not only going to get an offensive point right now, they will also get the right side.
I was going to say, I think that should be half, but the players don't seem to have acknowledged the mirrored half,
or
so
recognize
Torrijas
this, yes.
will still be pulling here.
Which is very interesting. Maybe half at 6. Interesting. Oh, there we go. I think, yeah, that was the disc going to Cassalletes for the pull.
Yep, the message has indeed got across.
Correct, yes.
Stand down, people. And so that's why getting that offensive hold there was so huge for Torrijas.
Absolutely, but looks like there is a bit of a discussion right now with the volunteers. However, volunteers, we were told as volunteers and scorekeepers that we know nothing. That the teams should figure out the correct score by themselves. We are timekeepers. We can tell them the time, and they can figure out what they should do, and at what moment of the game.
It always amazes me that players aren't always aware of what the score is or what the time situation is.
Yes.
But because that was one of the things as a player that I was really generally cued in on, but that's because I wasn't very good at Frisbee, so I had to provide value in other ways. Here's the deep shot going. Oh, what a deep shot that is as well. Bang, take that all the way to the bank, into the hands of Sian Coppejans, her third goal of the game, and that cashes in the downwinder for Torrijas, 6-4 with under 15 minutes left on the clock. Hell of a throw though, coming out of the hands of the 41 Jana Frez, I think.
Yeah, amazing throw there. Great chase, of course, by the defense, but a little too far for Betancourt. And the Torrijas are just towering forward. They don't seem to be faced at all by the very well-known names of Cassalletes.
There's a quote that I'm gonna adapt here, that if they're naive enough to think that they can turn up and win this sort of game, then they are absolutely naive enough to turn up and win this sort of game. Like, if you don't have that fear, then it's amazing what you can achieve. But so often teams, they almost psych themselves out a little bit, but maybe it's the exuberance of youth, maybe it's just an assuredness in their play, that they seem completely unfazed by this occasion, and they deserve a huge amount of credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of much older players around Masters age players in this tournament in general. I very often look at rosters and checking the age just out of the interest. There are a lot of like 30, 32 years old, but looks like this athleticism is also, and the fact that they're so young maybe helps them a little bit and run longer and run faster on the beach. We're getting really close to the end zone now.
Yeah, this Belgian youth movement is something to behold. Can they pour even further damage onto Cassalletes here. Trying to squeeze it down the line. They've got it as well. Peter Disbale with her third assist. 7-4 now for Torrijas.
Yeah, 3 on the trot with 35 minutes of elapsed time, so still 10 minutes to go. It is likely that we might even get to 13 if Torrijas are going to continue scoring points.
I mean, if they get them in that quickly, they've not turned it over since half.
That's true.
With the first half, that was a little bit more end-to-end. I think side scrolling for quality. That it's testament to Torrijas that they are able to kick on in that respect, and I think part of this is because Torrijas adjusted their defenses a little bit to try and force Cassalletes into that slow play a little bit more. But you see here on the pass count, 83 for Cassalletes, 53 for Torrijas, and yet 30 fewer passes. They've scored 3 points more. It's not necessarily how many passes you make, it's what you're doing with them. The key to that is you literally just pointed out to me is that 135 pass point that Cassalletes had earlier when Torrijas were employing that zone just to really gum up their quick style of play.
I think otherwise they are pretty even Stevens, just that 1 point was making all the difference when Torrijas were putting the pressure, but I think they did not go with that zone once again.
Yeah, I think the ball landed just inbounds in the end. I thought it might have caught the line, but no. Has to walk to the front of the end zone, and the zone is coming on again, and the throw pops up, and it's going to give the red zone chance.
Yeah, Torrijas in the perfect position right now, maybe a little bit on the sideline, but now centering. Gonna move it to the side. Oh, great grab.
Great grab there, as you mentioned, by Van Steelant. Trying to be aggressive, take on a downfield option on a high stall. I think the edge is going to take this out of bounds, and indeed it is. Yeah,
that is pretty aggressive, that's for sure, but unfortunately maybe too aggressive for Van Steelant.
Yeah, just a case of end zone eyes, I think. She never really even turned to pick out one of the handler options and maybe just reset the stall count and tick it over.
Yeah, too focused on the end zone, just trying to finish this point. Maybe got a little bit too excited, but I'm sure it was with experience. Yeah, if you're young and experienced, that's of course a very deadly weapon. They have youth, but not as much experience maybe.
There's the deep shot now coming from Cassalletes. The hat comes off, and it's not even needed to be bid as Van Steelant steals a march. Travel called.
Travel called.
I don't think she set her pivot point in the central zone.
Or maybe she moved not directly perpendicular to the line.
It seemed like she came relatively straight out, but yeah, you can see that she is very clearly still in the end zone, and Jenny Lee calls her up on it. Says, I was waiting for you to bring it to the front and you did not.
Yeah.
Dalla. Back to Van Steelant.
Oh, long option was available but not taken.
Yeah, and now stall count's getting up. You feel like they might play a bit of the field position game, but they're going to give themselves a shot at it. That's really good defensive positioning there from Valentina Betancourt.
Yeah, Van der Velde was hunting for this disc, but with a body in front with the body of Betancourt in front. Good contact avoidance as well by Van der Velde of not trying to grab this disc with any at all costs, so to say. So Cassalletes. Oh no, we're seeing that zone once again by Torrijas, just maybe not in the very beginning of the point.
Yeah, they want to force these lateral passes, which don't really gain much ground. Cassalletes happy to take them and then find the downfield connection afterwards. They've already worked it beyond midfield. Lamont, a little bit of dishy play to Otalvaro. Otalvaro too far for Zik.
Yeah, a little bit out of reach and really difficult disc, and I think the wind is also blowing that away. If you look at the flags, it is now going from the near side to the far side of your screens. So the wind has changed a little bit. So that disc was just literally being blown away from Zik. Oof. Huge mark there.
The first pass into their own end zone. Now trying to break, it's going to pop up. Well caught by Van der Velde. Wonder how much they feel the heat here. They were queuing up for the deep shot. ripped away by Lamont. Both sides offense getting a little bit ragged here, but because they intercepted, they can play quickly, and it means that Torrijas can't get the zone set up, and they're going one-on-one. Beautiful around break there to Lee. Defender over plants as well, and that's going to open the leading throw down that sideline. Back to Otálvaro, who carved it open with the break, and Otálvaro now distributes the disc for the assist. And Cassalletes get their first point of the second half, 7-5, and they get it against the wind as well. Yeah,
Otálvaro finally finds the window there and finally gets that point in. And yes, like you said, against the wind, that is quite impressive, of course. Let's see if Torrijas will be able to score an upwind point as well.
Yeah, it was quite a back and forth point, that one.
Yeah, we're going to look at some replays.
Both sides with 3 turnovers apiece. There was a deep shot that was snagged away by Van Stalen. You saw her rip the hat down maybe in anticipation of a bid that in the end she didn't really have to make. This was the first deep shot the other way that Betancourt had the position all the way. They, again, determined not to turn over near their own end zone, shooting deep. The pick-off there for Lamont was so important because it meant that they were playing quickly off the turn, and in the end she spears it to Zik for the score.
And that pull is, not surprisingly, is going to be bricked. It went out the sideline.
And the
but
bricks
went quite far, actually.
Yeah, the bricks do feel more punishing on the sand, and I must say I'm not against it.
A little bit less running on the sand.
Well, you should be able to pull it in. It's not even that big a pitch.
That's true, but it's a lot windier.
Skill issue. Couple of hands to Dispale.
Nah, true.
Dispale looking for the leading flick down the line. Finds Freys. Freys to the end zone. It's Shoni Marchand who goes to ground to make sure she secures the snag. And that's great for Torrijas. You force the Cassalletes offense into a very long, drawn-out point. You get your own line back out there, and 6 passes later, they're off the field again. Perfect.
Yeah, great for them, of course. And Torrijas, they are celebrating these goals, I think, a lot more. They have a much higher energy, I feel like, on the field than Cassalletes. Of course, being up is a lot easier and winning for your energy, but I was expecting to have a much bigger energy from the Spanish team.
It does feel like Torrijas
are
winning the energy battle, and you're right that Cassalletes, you know, maybe more adept at playing on the beach, slightly larger numbers, that you feel that maybe, again, they'd have that little bit more of a boost, but potentially the fact that they were coming in as a favourite, and Torrijas, they came in almost with nothing to lose, and it feels like they're playing like they had nothing to lose. 8-5 then, Torrijas up here on Cassalletes women's power pool action from the first ever World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. Don't go away. Torrijas leading over Cassalletes. Where are we? Oh, hello drone. Welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. I'm going to stand up so you can get a better look at my ugly mug. Benji Reese and Dimi Jardashenko for you in the booth. Steph Rapazza, get out of my shot, man. This isn't about you. It's about the action out there on the field. Torrijas playing a superb game, up 8-5 late in the piece against Cassalletes. We expect the cap to go during this point. And that'll mean that it'll be 8-6 game to 9 or 9-5 game to 10. The ball will be fielded slap bang in the center of the end zone, and the first pass goes to Broccoli, aka Zik. High pointed by Otálvaro. Been very impressed with her contributions today. Otálvaro taking on the break. gripped. Oh, that's going to float over the head of the target. Fernandez couldn't get there.
I think that was a little bit hasty by Martinez, that particular throw. And yeah, it just got taken by the wind.
Slightly clotted downfield, still rising, so putting some air underneath it, looking for Marchand, in and out, and it's back in again! Marchand catches the Torrijas break, that'll be 9-5. Coach Van Quali turns around to the booth, just how we drew it up.
Exactly. I would not believe that for sure, not with a double recatch by Marchand. She still got it, yes.
I was once told by a very wise head that the scoreboard shows no pictures. They all count the same, whether it's a great layout grab or whether it was once, twice, even thrice.
I was about to say 2 hands, please, and because she wanted to get it so casually and nice, but then yes, after that double recatch, I think she's going to be a little bit safer on the next catch.
The important thing is that it stuck, and it was good focus to keep eyes on it and make sure that it got in there in the end.
Yeah, that looked like a little bit like a circus. I don't know, maybe she just went to a few circus lessons or juggling lessons.
Someone play the entrance of the gladiators. It's the pool. You can see again the wind just push against it and curl it out of bounds. You probably want to take that at the brick mark, I would feel.
Yep.
Maybe you lose a few meters, but getting in the central position is probably a much better option.
I would definitely do that instead, that is for sure.
Yeah, there's not a real crosswind that might say, okay, we'll take it on a high wind sideline potentially.
Cassalletes getting us going. Ooh, great bid there.
Past the bit of Luis Copayans, who needs no invitation at exploding out of the traps. I'm not sure that was necessarily Lee's intended target, but it still works to Betancourt. Maybe just has a better field vision than I do. Fuentes with the layout secures it in those gloved hands. And looking to get back down the line, no. Instead, into the centre to Lee. Lee to the end zone, the layout, and it sticks as well for Valentina Arellano. That'll be 6-9 now the score in a game to 10. Torrijas really in pole position now. It would require a hell of a comeback for Cassalletes to get something here.
I think Torrijas will be very happy with that result. They would probably... I'm sure that they were still hunting for this particular defense. You have seen that Luis Copayans and that amazing defensive bid there, but still, even if they just give this point away and score the next one, they still gonna be winning that game comfortably. They have a few breaks to spare, and yeah, exactly like you were talking, the early breaks I think have helped them quite a lot to be in that position after a bit of a weather came in and spoiled the fun just a bit.
Because it was interesting, Torrijas got on top early, then Cassalletes answered back, and you thought, okay, now they can maybe put their foot down a little bit, but Torrijas picked themselves back up again, and since they went 3-2 down, they've scored 7 compared to 3, so that kind of puts it into perspective how they've been able to kick on in the mid to late portion of this game. Just past the bidding defender, is he going to open the space for the deep shot? No, instead the leader down the line, ran in by Despail.
Yeah, just a few meters away from the winning
Gets
score.
a little bit isolated on the sideline, so going to throw it across the end zone. 2 players there. Desmet catches, and Torrijas will take the victory. They flood the field as well they might. A superb win here for this upstart Belgian outfit.
That was such a great moment for them. 2 players over there. I think it was Desmond and Copayans. Sian Copayans. They were both going for that disc and did not see each other. And when Desmond finally plucked it out of the sky, looked at another person next to her, realized that it's her teammate, and just went on celebrating. That was such a beautiful moment for Torrijas. And congratulations to them with the win. Desmond is going to come over with our producer, Stefan Rapazzo, to tell us a few words about this game. Exciting.
Yeah, huge victory for them there. Elsewhere in this pool, by the way, E6 had a 13-4 win over MUC, so they bounced back from their universe point loss to LAMP. And this pool is perilously poised now. Everyone has got at least one win and at least one defeat. So it just goes to show the parity at the top of this division, how evenly matched, how close these teams are, and that's exactly what you would expect from the inaugural World Beach Ultimate Club Championships. The sides will have their little individual huddles before they go into the post-game spirit circle, as you can see them there. Again, such a great performance from Torrijas. Everyone on the roster stepping up and contributing when it mattered most. And we can throw it now down to the one and only Stefan Rapazzo.
Has Emma Dismet from Torrijas. I think I'll get it one of these days with the Nederlanders, but congratulations, heck of a game. Game-winning goal, of course. This team is very, very young. Talk about the makeup of your team, because you guys have just come out of nowhere and you're getting mostly wins. I was going to say nothing but mostly wins. Talk about this young squad. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I think we just came here to be here and get some new experiences, because we have no experiences on the beach with this team. And we just have a great atmosphere, and that's, I think, the secret of how we do it. I don't know. So
success is new, it's just coming. I see on your sleeve here, Gentle and Wolf. So where in Belgium do you guys represent exactly?
We are a new team from Gentle and Wolf with all the youngsters, because we had 2 bids and nobody could go with the whole squad, so we just got the youngest from each team and prepared a bit in the Belgium Championship, and then we came here and it was really, really fun.
I was told before the game, practically all under 20 except 2 coaching staff, all over 50. You guys are learning as you go. You don't know any better. How are your coaches? Tell us a bit about your coaches.
Our coaches, Joost Dalle and Jelle van Quali, are the best, and my dad is team manager, so I think it's really just the atmosphere, and they are just amazing. Amazing experiences and everything. We
wish you the best, that you just keep winning. Thank you, and congratulations on the win.
Thank you!
One little video bomb there at the end from the victorious and valiant Torrijas, as the storms may be beginning to roll in, and it was stormy skies indeed for Cassalletes. The favourites coming into this game, Torrijas, came out to a red-hot rocket of a start, 2 breaks off the bat. Cassalletes fought their way back to 3-2 up, but from there, Torrijas, great spirit, great nerve to hold their own and claim a famous victory here. Final score then from this women's power pool match at the World Beach Ultimate Club Championships is Cassalletes 6, Torrijas 10. Mixed division action coming up next, Guayota versus Margarita Mixed for Benji Rees and Dimi Doroshenko alongside me. We'll see you on the other side.
Thanks.
Yeah, Ultimate. WBUCC.TV.